Mr. Sai Deepak, in your book, India, Bharat and Pakistan, you've tried to trace the roots of radicalism in India, including the works of those who sought to develop a so-called Middle Eastern consciousness amongst the Indian Muslims. Do you see this prevalent, that there is a culture of Bharat that is alien to them and therefore giving rise, to the kind of network as we saw now appearing in the Delhi blast?
So as far as I am concerned, I can draw a fairly straight line from the non-state actors who gave birth to revivalist Islam after the death of Aurangzeb right until the partition and thereafter, including certain organizations which had the honor and privilege of hosting certain people from Afghanistan in the recent past. That straight line can be drawn. Now, whether we wish to acknowledge those realities and also ask ourselves how much have they actually contributed in what I call as silent radicalization, wherein moderation slowly loses its space, and you also wait for a time when there are enough numbers from within and outside which have the will and the muscle to execute that vision. Until then, we can all sit and watch this Aman Ki Asha Ka Tamasha.
Well, Aman Ki Asha, I think dead and buried for now. But what do you make of those who give cover fire, including people within the mainstream opposition parties like the Congress, which say this has been done to distract from the pollution problem in Delhi or to polarize the election in Bihar because they were losing, or some people who are coming and saying that the disenfranchise, the fact that there is Hindu Hriday Samrat kind of right-wing government that we have at the center, which is why the minorities are feeling marginalized. What do you make of all these arguments, and what is the way forward for us as Indians?
Aman Ki Asha Ka Tamasha with Pakistan has ended, but Pakistan is not just a country, it's a mindset. So the tamasha has not ended within the country. That's my point. Coming to the next issue, which you've asked. The BJP has been cumulatively in power for how long? 98 to 2004, followed by 2014 till date. So 11 years plus about 6 years. It's about 17 years. So clearly there was no Hindu Hriday Samrat who was at the helm prior to that, and also from 2004 to 2014. So what injustice was happening between 2004 to 2014 to explain the series of blasts that were taking place over a decade? So was Shri Manmohan Singh the Hindu Hriday Samrat, or was Miss Sonia Gandhi or Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, whatever the appellation may be, the Hindu Hriday Empress? I don't know what is going on here. See, it's easy for a perpetual victimhood mindset to constantly look for enemies. But the fact of the matter is, until 1980, there was no BJP. And even after that, they barely had 2 seats. So how do you explain the instances of terror all along, and where was the BJP anywhere in public scene when it comes to the holding of power when Kashmiri Hindus were driven out from 1988 onwards? What explains that? What social injustice are they talking about? And if that is truly their response, then perhaps Bengali Hindus and Kashmiri Hindus should have equally picked up the weapon, considering what they were subjected to and what they continue to be subjected to. Have they done that? The unfortunate reality, and I'm sorry to say this, Navika ji, that the reality is that it's not just one particular political outfit in this country that defends this mentality. Unfortunately, that soft mentality has percolated and infiltrated across political ideologies, because we don't wish to call it by what it is anymore. We don't wish to squarely look the problem in the eye. Even ideological organizations today are unfortunately softening their stance with respect to hardcore jihadi terror, because they think that it can be reasoned with, it can be bartered with, it can be negotiated with. You can actually extend the olive branch across the table. I can't think of a more delusional position ever, especially given the history of Bharat, because this is precisely what people thought in the 1920s in the backdrop of Khilafat 1.0. This is Khilafat 2.0.
And according to you, if you're the doctor, what is your prescription? First, what's the disease? And how do we begin to cure it?
Stop mollycoddling these sentiments in the hope that education will do the job. crack down on the hammers the way Uttar Pradesh is doing, rightly so. 3, certainly try and engage with those elements who see themselves as part of the Bharatiya spirit. However, you must realize at the end of the day, demography is destiny and democracy is dependent on demography. If you want to look at examples, Kashmir, Bengal, Assam, Kerala, even parts of Andhra Pradesh as of now, parts of Tamil Nadu, all of them are being lost to demographic inversion. Address that first, because without numbers, you can't fight this battle. Because even if you fight the law and order battle, you will lose the larger demographic battle in the long run, because democracy is a function of demography. And once the demography is not in your favor, you don't need to be 51% or 60% to actually hold the reins of power. You only need to have 30% across the board.